A big part of any dining experience involves the enjoyment of drinks and beverages, offered in a timely manner to complement the order of service. So it's crucial for every waiter to have a thorough knowledge of beverage service, beginning with glassware. A sophisticated cocktail bar will have glassware for serving very fancy mixed drinks. Other simpler venues require less sophisticated glassware to serve basic beverages, such as house wine or a cold beer. Wherever they work, a professional waiter should at least know the names and uses for the standard types of glassware. To begin with, there are several different types of wine glass. A red wine glass is taller and larger in volume than a white wine glass, and either glass may also be used for drinking water. Sparkling wine, such as champagne, can be served in a traditional champagne flute glass, a tulip glass, or a champagne saucer glass. Some venues also use the champagne saucer for cocktails, such as a brandy cruster. Beer glasses also come in several shapes and sizes. The standard beer glass holds 200 millilitres and is sometimes used for mixed drinks. The larger pot or midi glass holds 285 millilitres. Some bars may also carry half or full pint glasses, which often come as mugs with handles. A third range of glassware is used for cocktails and other mixed drinks. For example, the small cocktail or martini glass holds 90 millilitres. The larger colada glass is often confused as a red wine glass, but it's used for serving creamy mixed cocktails. Two further glasses for mixed drinks are the highball and the old-fashioned, which is also used for straight spirits or spirits with ice. The final range of glassware is for small servings of special alcoholic drinks. For example, the large cognac, balloon or brandy glass is used for brandy, especially the very fine French cognac. The fortified after-dinner wine, port, is usually served in a port glass. The smaller liqueur glass may also be used for port, sherry or muscat, or other more exotic dessert liqueurs. The fortified white wine sherry is served in sherry glasses. Glassware like this is expensive yet easily broken, so it's important to handle and store all items correctly and keep them sparkling clean. Often the waiting staff will have to assist the bar staff to hand wash glasses using a glass scrubber and detergent to remove any dried on orange juice pith or lipstick. Glasses are stacked upside down in racks according to their type, then hygienically washed in a glass washer. After washing, glassware is hand polished using a lint-free cloth to remove any spots. Glasses should be handled only by their stem or base using just 2 fingers to avoid leaving any unsightly finger marks. Polished glassware is then stored ready for use at the bar or for setting out on the tables, while beer glasses are placed in a glass chiller to ensure any beer poured into them stays icy cold. To carry glasses, a waiter has 2 choices. If there are no guests present, it's acceptable to carry up to 6 wine glasses in the left hand, using the right hand to carefully set the glasses at each cover. However, when guests are present, or to carry full glasses, a waiter should use a drinks tray held on the pads of his left fingers. The waiter also carries a service cloth draped across the left arm, ready to mop up any spills. Apart from the glassware and tableware, a waiter must be familiar with the drink serving facilities, which typically include storage racks for different types of glassware, glass chillers for the beer glasses, 1 or more beer taps for pulling beers behind the bar, 1 or more post-mix dispensers for serving a variety of aerated soft drinks, a storage area for ice cubes used in drinks, 1 or more fridges for storing chilled white and sparkling wines or milk and cream, a sink for cleaning glasses or rinsing out service cloths, bench space for preparing garnishes and mixing drinks, a storage area for red wines, a range of spirit bottles, perhaps fitted with measuring dispensers or spouts, a selection of more exotic liqueurs and cocktail mixes, often referred to as the top shelf, a secure area for storing extra supplies of drinks, a coffee or tea making area, perhaps with a cappuccino machine, and finally a cashier area for placing and paying for drink orders. The beer at a typical bar will usually come from barrels in a separate cold room or cellar, managed by a specially trained waiter or beverage manager. That same person may also be responsible for ordering in new drink stock, with all staff expected to keep a written record of when the bar is running low on supplies. The service of wine or beer to guests begins with the presentation of the wine or drinks list at their table. A professional waiter is expected to be thoroughly familiar with what's on these lists and how to serve them. A drinks list is often divided into smaller groups, beginning with cocktails before a meal. Guests may then select from the general drinks list, including aperitifs, beers, spirits and soft drinks. To accompany their main course, guests may select a bottle or two from the wine list, followed by after-dinner drinks such as a port or brandy. Finally, some guests may finish their meal with a liqueur to enjoy with their coffee. The wine list is especially complex, with many different varieties and labels to choose from. Some guests may rely on their waiter to recommend a wine to complement their meal, so some basic wine theory certainly comes in handy. There are three main types of table wine: white, red and sparkling, which are all made from the fermented juice of crushed grapes. Common white wines include Chardonnay, Riesling, Sauvignon Blanc and Chenin Blanc. White wines are served chilled and complement seafood, chicken or lighter salad and pasta dishes. White dessert wines are generally quite sweet and are also served chilled. Common red wines include Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz, Merlot and Pinot Noir. Red wines are served at room temperature and are usually opened at least a few minutes before drinking to allow them to breathe. A good red complements most courses, especially hearty red meat or game dishes. Sparkling wine, such as French champagne, is often used for celebration or festivity. Served chilled, it complements any course and makes an especially good start to a merry evening. Once Andrew's guests have chosen their wine, he brings the cleanly wiped but unopened bottle on a service cloth held on the flat of his left hand. From his right hand he places a small cork plate on the table near the host. Then he presents the bottle to the host with the label clearly visible and announces the name and year of the chosen wine. After confirming the choice of wine, Andrew drapes the service cloth over his left arm and holds the neck of the bottle in his left hand at waist height, ready to open it beside the host. Andrew will now use a waiter's friend, an essential tool that should be carried by every professional waiter. It has a short fold-out knife at one end, a fold-out lever at the other, and a fold-down worm or corkscrew in the centre. Andrew first uses the knife to cut the foil or plastic capsule right around the bottle's neck, about 5 millimetres below the rim. He then uses the knife tip to lift the top of the capsule off completely, placing it into his pocket. It's important not to leave any jagged edges, as these could cause the bottle to drip when poured. Now, still holding the bottle in his left hand, Andrew uses his right hand to close the knife and flick out the worm and lever. He then inserts the worm into the centre of the cork and begins screwing it clockwise until the last spiral is visible. Any further and the worm could pierce the bottom of the cork and drop small cork pieces into the wine. Andrew now tilts the waiter's friend so that its lever rests on the bottle's lip. Then, holding the lever in place with his left index finger, he begins raising the opposite end of the waiter's friend, gradually pulling the cork out of the bottle. He now uses his left index finger and thumb to untwist the cork from the worm. Then, returning the waiter's friend to his pocket, he places the cork on the plate before the host for inspection, with the winery's printed name clearly visible. Andrew now wipes the bottle's lips with the service cloth to remove any pieces of cork. Then, using his right hand, he pours about 30 millilitres of wine into the host's red wine glass for approval. Notice that Andrew pours into the centre of the glass and that the bottle never touches the glass. Once the host has tasted and approved the wine, Andrew pours the glass of the guest to the left of the host. Working from the right, he fills the glass no more than 2/3 full and gives the bottle a slight twist at the end to collect any drops. He also wipes the bottle's lip on his service cloth before moving clockwise around the table to pour the next guest's glass. Note that bottles of red wine are sometimes served with a cloth or paper collar to improve the presentation and collect any spills. Once Andrew finishes topping up the host's glass, he either returns the bottle to the side station or places it on the table. If it was a white wine instead, Andrew would sit the bottle in an ice bucket or cooler, placed either on the table or in its own stand next to the table. Once the wine is poured, Andrew will return to top up the glasses when they reach about 1/3 full. If the bottle runs out, he'll ask the host if they require more of the same or whether they'd like to see the wine list again. If the host orders the same wine, there's no need to change the glasses or repeat the approval process. However, if the host chooses a different wine, then Andrew will use a tray to carry in some clean glasses and remove the dirty ones. He must also repeat the tasting and approval process for the new wine. The serving of sparkling wine is much the same as still wine, except that extreme care must be taken when removing the sometimes explosive cork. Andrew holds the bottle firmly in his left hand, pointing it well away from his face and anyone else nearby. He also tilts the bottle on a 45-degree angle to reduce any internal pressure on the cork. Then, using his right hand, Andrew locates the wire ring on the muselet or wire cage and untwists it. He then removes the muselet, cover foil and metal cap, but keeps his left thumb firmly over the cork as an added precaution. Next, Andrew places the service cloth over the cork and holds it firmly in his right palm. Then, with his left hand, he twists the base of the bottle until the cork eases gently out into his right hand. After wiping the bottle's lip, Andrew uses the service cloth to hold it in his right hand. Then, with the label clearly visible, he pours about 30 millilitres into the host's champagne flute for approval, before working clockwise around the table, pouring the remaining glasses. A final popular drink poured at the table by most waiters is beer. Small bottles of beer should be carried on a tray, together with a clean, chilled beer glass. To serve, Andrew uses his right hand to pick up the glass by its base from the tray, then places it down onto the table from the right-hand side of his guest. He then takes the open bottle in his right hand with the label clearly showing and pours the beer into the glass. Andrew aims the beer onto the opposite side of the glass and pours fairly slowly to help form a foamy head. Once the glass is full, if there's any beer left in the bottle, Andrew will place it on the table to the right of the glass, again with the label toward the guest. So, with their wine or beer professionally poured, Andrew's guests are ready to enjoy the delights of their evening's meal. Once his guests finish their meal, Andrew completes his order of service by preparing and presenting their bill for food and drink. Prompt service is very important, as few things are more annoying than waiting for a slow or inattentive waiter to notice that a table is ready to leave and wants its bill. So at the table, Andrew now politely inquires as to whether his guests have indeed finished dining, and if so, whether they'd now like their bill. All service staff must know their billing system and keep their bills up to date at all times, because a table may want its bill at any time and in a hurry. An up-to-date bill also avoids any embarrassing overcharging or costly undercharging. And whether it's a simple handwritten docket or a computerised invoice, every bill must serve two key functions. Firstly, for the customer, the bill should accurately itemise their food and drink orders and charges, then present a total amount due for payment, including surcharges such as corkage on drinks. Secondly, for the restaurant, the bill forms an accurate financial record of what food and drink has been sold and the income generated by that sale. If there's no obvious host, Andrew would place the bill or cheque in the centre of the table. But with a host, Andrew uses his right hand to place the bill before them from their right. The bill is folded or inside a wallet so that other guests cannot see it. Andrew now departs for a moment to allow the host to consider the bill and how to pay it, especially if the table wants to split the bill and pay individually. Most people will pay using cash, credit cards, EFTPOS, cheques, meal vouchers, or a charge account, perhaps to their hotel room or to a company account. Either way, to protect against possible fraud, it's important to verify such things as expiry dates and signatures on credit cards, or ask for clear identification when accepting cheques. This host is paying by credit card, so Andrew collects the card and bill and returns to the cashier's area. Here he could swipe the card through an electronic reader or make an imprint onto a credit slip like this. For very large amounts, Andrew may also check the card against a list of delinquent or stolen cards. But if everything seems in order, Andrew returns the card, bill and credit slip to the table, together with a pen for signing. At this stage, the host may